Hello, in this video we'll be going over how to solve problems using simple interest and what simple interest basically is. So in the world we have this thing called money, okay? I'm going to denote it by this, right? And everyone needs money to buy and spend things for goods and services, etc. But not everyone has money. So we have this thing called a bank. So we have a bank, and the bank pretty much it owns a lot of the world's money, right? Whoopsie daisy. Go rub that out. I'll just draw over here. So we have a bank and it has money, and we have people that basically they turn up and they have these things. They want to buy things, goods and services, cars, etc. and stuff. But if they don't have any money, they can't do that. So what they do is they ask the bank for a thing called a loan. So a loan is basically saying, going up to the bank saying, hey, can I have this much money and I will repay you back in this amount of time. And the bank will say all the time, depending on what job you have and whether you can pay it back, they'll say yes. But they'll have this thing called interest on it. So what does that mean? So basically, the bank will give you a certain amount of money, right? And they'll ask you to pay it back in a certain amount of time. But they'll also have this thing called interest, right? So interest, whether it's simple or compound interest, is basically means the bank's going to give you money, but for how long you have it for will determine how much money you're going to have to pay back. So the bank is going to give you money. You're going to still have to pay back the amount of money you've taken, but the bank will also make you pay a little bit more depending how long you have it. So the formula for simple interest, I'll just write it up. So simple interest basically means that if you have a certain amount, let's say you have a certain amount here, and you take it from the bank, and it asks you to pay it back. So, alright, I'll take out 20 grand, and I want you to have an interest rate of 4% per annum. Okay. So what that means is basically you're gonna have to pay that you're going to have to pay back this amount, but you're going to have to apply this rate of interest onto it as well, because you're going to have this amount and a certain amount of money generated from this percentage. So the formula we'll just be doing with simple interest is here. So simple interest is denoted by I equals PRT divided by 100. Alright? So I is the simple interest. P is called the principal. Do I spell that? Principal. So the principal means the amount taken. So in that example, the 20 grand was the amount taken. R is the rate of interest. Rate of interest per time period. It could be in months, so it could be months, years, etc. Pretty much. Alright? But it's usually yeah. So we also have T. So T is basically the time for you the time it's the time basically for you to return the money. So it's like the time of the money borrowed, pretty much. So time of money borrowed. So it's like how long you're going to have this money for before you pay back the bank, pretty much. Now, if this T is in years, the interest rate, this thing here, will be in per annum. So what per annum means per year, pretty much. So it'll be acting interest rate per every year, pretty much. And it's often denoted. So denoted means it's often denoted. So you'll have like such and such percentage P dot A. Oops. Oopsie daisy. Oops. P dot A. So that's what it'll be denoted by. So the P dot A means per annum, pretty much. Alright, so for this formula, we can calculate the simple interest by multiplying the original amount by the time period which is borrowed over. So the longer it takes someone to pay back the bank, the more interest they'll have to pay on it. So let's just take a look at a question, pretty much. Alright, so find the simple interest payable on a loan of $6,500 at 3.5% per annum for 4 years. So if you want to have a go at this question, feel free to pause the video and have a go. Alright, straight off the back, I'm going to write out my formula. So interest is equal to the principal times the rate at which you're getting times the time over 100. So looking at this question here, we can see we have our principal here. So I'm just going to write that over here. So P is equal to $6,500. What else do we have? We've also been given the rate. So our R is 3.5% P dot A. And we've also been given the time over 4 years. So capital T is just equal to 4 years. And now all we got to do is plug in this into the formula. So it's going to be interest is equal to our principal, our original amount, which is 6,500, multiplied by a rate, which is 3.5, multiplied by the time, which is 4. This time has to be in years. So if they give you it in months, you need to convert it to years. Divide by 100. So our interest is going to be putting that into calculator. So we go 6,500 multiplied by 3.5 times 4 divided by 100. Our simple interest is $910. So what does this actually mean? So this person has taken out this loan, right? So they've taken that from the bank and it's got this interest rate on it, pretty much. So you've got to pay back. So if the bank pretty much is asking, all right, you can have this much money, but by the end of the 4 years, you're going to have to pay us this much money plus the interest generated by it. So in total, you're going to have to pay back 6,500 plus 910. Okay, so that's going to be 6,000 plus 910. That's going to be $7,410. So you might have initially taken out 6,500, but because of the interest, you're actually going to have to pay back this much money. Okay? Alright, let's go on to another question. So if you had any questions, please leave some in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. Alright, find the simple interest payable on the loan of $1,200,000. Oh no, not 1,200. $10,000, $2,000 pretty much at 4% per annum for 6 months. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't pronounce this number. Alright, so if you want to have a go at this video, if you want to have a go at this question, feel free to pause the video and have a go. Alright, straight off the back, what have we been given? We've been given our principal. So P is $1,200. Our rate, R, is 4%, P dot A. We've also been given the time. Notice they've put it in months rather than years. So we have to convert the months into years. So how many months are in a year? 12. So we go 6 divided by 12 is going to give us a half. All right. So our T is a half, or you could put 0.5 years. All right. So now we can calculate our interest. So interest is equal to PRT divided by 100. So all we got to do is plug this into this formula here. So that's going to be interest is equal to the principal multiplied by the rate multiplied by the time, 0.5 divided by 100. Putting that into our calculator, our interest is $240. Alright? So, old mate's taken this much out of the bank. He's only had it out for 6 months. So, in total, he'll have to pay back this much money plus this much money as well, because the interest generated on it. Alright, let's have a go at our last question of this video. So Alex wishes to purchase a car at this much money. Alex is able to pay 15 grand up front. In order to afford the remaining costs, Alex takes out a loan of 20 grand at 4.75% per annum for 18 months. How much does Alex need to repay the bank back at the end of 18 months? Alright, so this is quite a wordy question, but if you're feeling confident to have a go without me, feel free to have a go and pause the video. Alright, so straight up, let's just get this. We've got the scenario in the head. Alex wants to buy a car, pretty much, and she's able to pay this much up front. So this is all this information here is just fill. It's just fill. It's rubbish. We don't really need to know it to solve the question. The question, the important information starts to happen down here when they talk about a loan. Straight off the back, we know that's our principal. So P is 20 grand. Okay? And straight off the back, we've also been given the rate. So our rate, R, whoopsie daisy, our R is 4.75. And we've also been given the time she's going to pay it back in, 18 months. Notice how they put it in months again. So we need to put that in years. So we go 18 divided by 12. So 18 divided by 12 is 1.5. So capital T is 1.5. Right? How much does Alex need to repay the bank at the end of the 18 months? So notice how they're not asking for the interest. They're asking for the total amount of money Alex needs to give back. So we need to calculate the interest, and then we need to plus our original amount that was taken out. So our 20 grand here. Alright, so straight off the back, we just got to pretty much calculate our interest. So our interest is I equals PRT divided by 100. All we've got to do is plug in these numbers into the formula. So go I equals 20 grand multiplied by 4.75 multiplied by 1.5 divided by 100. So our interest is going to be $1,425, I think. Let me just check with the calculator. 1,000. Yep. So that's the interest generated over the 18 months. Now, if you were to leave the question now, you wouldn't get full marks, because that's not what the question's asking for. It's not asking for the interest generated. It's asking for the total repayment at the end of the 18 months. So our actual answer is going to be 20 grand plus $1,425. So using your maths, 2, 4, 1, and that is our answer. Alright, I hope this video helped you with your simple interest. I'll be doing a video on compound interest very shortly. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something.